IT professional.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they are IT professionals from different institutes who are working with you on various projects.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So are some of you just still students or you've all completed your studies?
No, they are at the final year. Some of maybe at the second year, they will complete their graduation by next year, and then they will be on the like in the industry to start their work.
All right, very good. So great. It's an honor to be here to address you all. And you are at the, at the transition stage. And some of what I'm going to say is will make sense to you. Okay, so let me start with my story. Have you heard of SSB, Services Selection Board? You must have. Okay, so the army has a very strict, very stringent admission process. So what we do, there's a written exam, and based on the results of the written exam, the people who qualify, they're called for SSB, Services Selection Board. Now, this is, yeah, the government pays for you and says, okay, come and we want to take a closer look at you. So these centers are there in, during my time, there were 4 or 5 centers. So anyway, I went to Allahabad. So Allahabad, the SSB center had a very notorious name for, very few selections. So we were 109 people in the batch, and all of us, we had to go and stay there in the camp for 1 full week, and they evaluate you from all possible angles: physically, mentally, emotionally, socially. How good are you as a team player? What kind of eating habits you have? What's your sleep pattern? So one week you are under their observation, and they kind of really look at you from all possible directions. So we did this. We went to this whole process, and at the end of it, on the last day, everybody's out there, and they're going to announce the people who are selected. And we had observed and we had noted that there were few, 4 or 5 people who were really smart. And we said, yeah, so, these guys are going to take the place. So all of us were a little disappointed that what about us? So when the names got announced, to our surprise, we found that none of these 4 or 5 people who we thought were very smart were selected. Their names were not called out, and there were about 9 names that were called out, and I happened to be one of them. So we figured out that the smartest people were not selected because the army is not looking for somebody who's very individualistic. Army is not looking for people who are over smart. Army is not looking for people who are just good in communication, but not good team players. So there is a criteria, which looks at a person's potential and the ability to lead and the ability to work as a part of a team, at the same time displaying individual excellence, be it physical, mental, emotional, whatever. So that was the criteria. And then obviously we thought that these guys who are smart would probably do very well in some other careers, you know. So somebody became a lawyer, somebody became a banker, another one became an IS officer, So there are multiple places where, depending on your skill, you could fit in. So what happens in our case is they take the raw material, they've seen the potential, then they put us through training. After they put us through training, and when we come out, then we are superstars. Their job is to make us into superstar. Their job is to mold us, and make us somebody who's got phenomenal capability, right? So that is the whole process. So once we finish the assessment, then you stay back for 1 week for medical again. Head to toe, they do their medical, and after doing that, then they kind of say that okay, you're selected now, you can come and join the training. So the point that I'm making is that at the end of the interview, we are not superstars. We are in the making. Now let's compare this with what happens in the corporate world. In the corporate world, the industry, when they interview you, they are expecting you to be a superstar. They are saying that the whichever institute that you have come from, that institute has done enough to give you all the required, skills and capabilities for you to be a superstar. So the day you join the industry, they want you to hit the ground running. Am I audible? Is it okay?
Yes, it's going good.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Yes,
but
sir.
somehow this doesn't happen, because everybody does not become a superstar because either there is, too much to be cramped up in the 2, 3 years that you are going to study, or the curriculum is not rounded enough to look at inculcating all possible qualities. So therefore, this big bridge exists. And to bridge this gap, many people have got PhDs. Professors have taken up this as a subject and they've got doctorates. Industry keeps complaining that academy is not churning out the right profile. Academy is complaining that the best are not getting selected. So that gap continues to remain in spite of all possible efforts. I think today's Times of India says that we must copy the model from Turkey, how they bridge the gap. So the search is on. Forget about the Turkey part, but I'm just saying that this is a hot topic and it continues. So as a student, as an intern, I think we must take it upon ourselves that whatever the institute is doing, whatever the industry is doing, fine. I'm going to make myself a superstar. If the onus is on you. You have to take it on yourself and say that, okay, whatever be the thing, I'm going to look at what the role requirement is, and I'm going to be a superstar, right? So the onus has to be on you, and you have to be a superstar, right? Very different from what I shared with the army, where we are made a superstar because of the training. While here, the industry is expecting a superstar, and the onus of being that is on you. So I'm going to talk about 10 commandments, and some of these, all of them can help you, in some way in becoming the superstar. All right, so let's move on. Please feel free to stop me anytime if you have any questions, and you can switch on the video, switch on your mic, and talk to me. No issues. So let's get started. All right, so let's go to the high altitude area of Kargil. So this is a war that happened in 1999. Is anybody in this crowd who was born before 99?
Yes, sir. I born in 1998. Prasad.
All right, Prasad, good. So
Yes,
you're
sir.
among the older lot in this crowd.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good, good, good. Yeah, so I think this is after 99 we had not had a war till Operation Sindoor, which we will talk about later. Yeah, so this was Kargil. This happened in 1999, and Pakistan had blatantly violated the agreements, and they had gone and occupied 132 posts along these beautiful mountains. These mountains in Ladakh are overlooking the national highway which connects Srinagar to Leh. Some of you might have gone on a holiday also. It's an amazing cold desert and beautiful mountains, right? So this highway is the only connecting link between Srinagar and Leh, and it had a very strategic influence that if they had cut off this highway, then we would have Ladakh would have got completely cut off from India. That is one. And second interest that Pakistan had was the Siachen Glacier. So we are occupying the Siachen Glacier, and it's a very much an integral part of India, and it is overlooking the strategic Karakoram highway between Pakistan and China. Okay, but we are overlooking there, and therefore their intention was also to cut us off so that we become weak on Siachen, and then they can claim that area. So anyway, all that did not happen, and our brave soldiers, in spite of the weather, the height, the rarity of oxygen, and all that, 132 places, we threw them out. The Indian artillery, the Indian Air Force, the Indian Army, they went and they threw them out physically, and they occupied all these 132 posts. Yeah, you may not be born that time, but I'm sure you've heard of the Kargil War, right? So having thrown them out, we celebrated victory. In infantry, what happens in any war? At the end of the day, if you till you go and sit on the ground and put your flag, you cannot declare victory. So you actually physically go, and all these 132.13 went and put the flag and said, "Hey, we have done it." That is the victory we got, which was very difficult, but it was a very decisive and a short war and a phenomenal victory. So every year on 26th of July, we celebrate Kargil Vijay Divas. Right? So we celebrate Vijay Divas to commemorate the event. Similarly, we celebrate 15 December as the victory in Bangladesh when we liberated Bangladesh. And now I think with Op Sindoor, of course, right now it is on a pause mode. It is not something that is called off. So we'll have to wait. But if things kind of cool down, then probably 10th of May would be a day that we would celebrate as victory of Sindhu. All right. So now I have a question. So why do we celebrate victories? Whether it is Kargil, whether it is Sindhu, or 71, any war, any ladai, we celebrate. So why do we celebrate?
To remember the braveness of our soldier and the sacrifice of their lives. That is the actual they are giving their life. That is the supreme sacrifice, and they are giving it for our nation, our motherland. So to remember them, we are celebrating it.
Yes, Mayur, that's it. Thank you so much. What else? Very good. Other than what Mayur said, yeah. So Mayur said to remember the sacrifices that they have made, remember the hard fight they fought. Yeah, it's a remembrance. Anybody else? Any other reason why we celebrate or we should celebrate?
Other members, please come up. Nayan, Hiren, Ayush, please speak up.
Okay, let me also put it another way that war, of course, we win and we celebrate. Now let's look at celebration in general. It doesn't have to be a war. It could be any victory. Maybe it's a cricket match victory, right? Or a victory that you've had in your school or college, right? So any victory we celebrate. Why do we celebrate? We got one answer from Mayur. Any more answers? What happens when you celebrate victory?
So we give honor and remembrance to the ones who have sacrifices.
Yes, Vinay, that's good. That's similar to what Mayur had also said. Yeah, we give honor. Yes. Any more?
So I think like celebration is going to give more energy for upcoming wars or like that. So you should
Yeah.
remember these things. That is like for getting the energy for next year. So we should celebrate that the way we declare the birthday, we declare the foundation dates to just give the more energy for upcoming days and just enjoy with your friend circles and get motivated for upcoming days.
Fantastic, fantastic. This is super. Yeah. So to get energy and to get motivated, right? Those are very important things, and those count in the long run. So let me just make it visible to all of you. Can you see my screen? Yeah. So let's go through these. So first, of course, I think some of you said, I think Vinay said and Mayur said, to honor those who fought for the victory. They made history. So we must celebrate the fact that, history was made. Then to foster unity and strengthen social bonds and ownership. So the team that fought, or the units from which the teams fought, right? There is a level of ownership it builds up. And these kind of events go down in the memory, and they become folklore. People talk about the stories, people talk about what somebody did, people talk about how this unit went and kill so many enemy people. They talk about the effectiveness of how the automatic weapons were used. Talk about the difficulties. So with all these stories, it helps strengthen the social bonds, because you're talking in terms of story type. You're kind of sharing it in an informal way, right? So this informal sharing builds a lot of connections. So it builds a bond and builds a level of ownership. So if I were to tell you in the army, the reason why we fight, reason why we are willing to, people say army people are willing to die. That's not correct. People are willing to kill the other person for his country. You're not saying that you're going to die for your country. That may happen, but yeah, we are trained to kill the other person for his country. So why do we do that? Why are we willing to fight, and why are we willing to risk our life? The reason we are doing to do that is what is called as Naam, Namak, and Nishan. And this Naam, Namak, and Nishan comes from the victories, comes from the celebration, comes from the stories. So the name of the unit. So for example, I am from the Assam regiment. So I have a rhino on the cap, and I have a rhino on the belt. I have a rhino on my blazer. So I fight for the line. I have that unity with this unit which I served, and I have a solid bonding because in 1971, our unit won the battle honor for Cham, which is in the western sector in JNK, right? So we have heard stories of the sacrifices. We lost 5 officers and 14 jawans in that war, and we have stories and we know, so we all identify with that. So that fosters unity, strengthens social bonds, and there is a very high level of ownership, right? Then we recognize strides towards equality, justice, and change. If somebody gets a long pending justice, then yes, that's a reason to celebrate. When we recognize equality across various discriminations, then we can celebrate. Somebody manages to bring about a big change in the organization, we celebrate. Okay. Then, of course, surviving and thriving through tough times. So nothing is easy. So every hardship that you face and every victory you get needs to be celebrated. Yeah. And of course, like Mr. Nimbalkar said, it set examples to motivate others and push forward. It gives you energy, it gives you motivation, because every such story is going to kind of further make you increase your resolve to go forward. Okay, and then of course it reinforces and enhances self-growth, self-worth, self-esteem, and confidence. Not just the team, but individually. Individually you can experience a higher self-esteem and higher confidence, right? It helps you build resilience. In terms of a next tougher situation, you already know that you've handled tougher situations. You can handle them, so you have a better resilience, and of course, encourages a very positive mindset. Yeah, there may be many more. I just listed on a few. All right, so we move on. Okay, so like I mentioned, it is Nam Namak and Nishan. Right, that happens in the army, and that is the reason we fight. So in the army, there is a thing called Scroll of Honor. So for every victory, there are gallantry awards. Paramveer Chakra, Mahavir Chakras, Sena Medal, Vishishta Sena Medal. There are many awards that people get, and these awards are very close to our heart. And these awards give us the energy and the motivation to kind of move on, right? And then there are other awards for outstanding work during peacetime. Yeah, and this kind of all these awards, they lead to creating a specific culture, the bonding culture within the army. Now, what happens in the corporate? In the corporate also we celebrate, right? There are quality certifications. Somebody gets an ISO, CMM, you say, yes, our company got this, then you have expansion. We expanded to a new location, reason to celebrate. Then you have, you add to your offering in terms of products and services. And then you can have industry awards, for process expertise or being best in class. I think there is one which says best place to work also, There's some companies that have this awards which says that we are the best place to work, and this is the criteria based on which we got this. Then there are employee awards, excellence award, best in class awards, and then there are client testimonials. Now all these things also happen in the corporate world, right? But when you join the company, I think you need to go and check these out. Check out what is the history of this company. Check out what are the victories this company has had. Check out what are the clients saying about this company. Check out how many employees have got employee awards. The reason why I'm asking you to check them out, that many companies do not use this to create a winning culture. It lies somewhere in the corner, and people are not reminded about this. Very rarely when let's say in your induction, people will talk about client testimonials. They may talk about the size of the company, they may talk about location, but how many talk about their process excellence and how many talk about client testimonials, right? So you must go and check out what is the rich history within the company, and how can that be used? How can that motivate you yourself, and then how you can spread that within the company? The company culture gets formed around the past victories, right? And I'm saying this because we do programs in the corporate as well, and many of them do not, really look at these things in a very focused way. They're there, but work is going on, and everybody's very busy, and they don't have time to put this together. Yes, but I'm sure I'm not generalizing the statement. There are companies that do have a very good documented, recorded history, and that is used to build their culture. So when you say values, companies talk about values. So all those values are an offshoot of the past track record of that company. All right, this is important because you guys are getting into a company. Now let's look at individual scroll of honor. So when I say individual scroll of honor, that just like a company or a army unit is doing it, what is your individual scroll of honor from the time you're born, when you went to school, then you went to college, then you did all that, right? So what is your individual scroll of honor? What are those things that you have done which you have recorded as a scroll of honor? We all know we might have it somewhere in the subconscious. We may have forgotten about it, but I think it is worth it to sit down with a piece of paper and make this scroll of honor. The scroll of honor, you put down all the things that you have done in your life, which make you smile, which make you feel good about yourself. So it could be that you won a outstanding best student award, or you got highest marks in some subject, you represented some sports team, because getting into a school or college team is competitive, right? Or you just participated in sports, that itself can give you some level of happiness. Or you won some elocution debate or essay competition, you reached a fitness goal, or you said, I want to reduce 5 kgs in 1 year, and you managed to do that. Yeah, that's a victory. You mastered a skill. Okay, you said, I think some of you are doing that. Now AI has come up. You say, I'm going to master ChatGPT in so and so period, and you do that. So that's a victory. You overcame fear of something. You were fearful of, let's say, making presentation. And then you consciously took effort and says, I'm going to break this. And you kind of overcame that. You helped a needy friend or a stranger. That is there in your mind as a victory. You beat your own expectations. Yeah, and maybe you cleared some competitive exam, got admission, or got a job, right? So there are many small things in life where we succeed, where we win, but unfortunately we don't keep a record. So my humble suggestion to you, and I think one of the commandments would be to prepare and build a scroll of honor. So when you remember anything that you did well, what happens? You are in a celebration mode, right? So let me extend this a little bit, and let's say that okay, let me talk about myself. I play golf, and in golf, you have to do pars. The 18 holes, you have to do 18 pars. So it's a difficult game, right? So now on a particular thing, when I'm putting, and I do a par putt, and I succeed, then I do like this. Yeah, that's my celebration. Now, what happens is that when you win something which is difficult, there is that surge of energy within you. And that surge of energy can invariably reflect in you doing something, and that something can be like this, you kind of all out, you are really happy and you are ecstatic and jumping around. Right. That's fine, that's great celebration. But one of the applications that you can do is that you correlate. Okay, this is NLP. Okay, you correlate some of your victories to a very simple action. Like in my case, it's like this, right? So you can correlate and create a small action which could be like this, which could be like this, which could be like this, which could be, whatever. Simple action that will immediately trigger that memory in you. Okay, the memory of victory that you have already experienced, right? You trigger that and you create a physical action, which will make you remember that and which will give you that high energy. Okay, so that's one of the things that you can do. In addition to that, whenever you're feeling down and depressed, or you have lost confidence, you take out your scroll of honor and you read all of that and you find that, hey boss, I have done so many things, I am much better than what I am. Why am I getting into this rut? Okay, so it's a great way to get out of depression. So that's the scroll of honor. All right, so then let's move on. Let's go back to Kargil War. Okay, in Kargil War, some of you, again, you were not there, so you may not know. This was a very highly televised war. The television crew was always there, and There was one interview done by Barkha Dutt of this person called Captain Vikram Batra. Maybe you've heard his name. Oh, there was a movie, Sher Shah. Yeah, there was a movie, Sher Shah, on Vikram Batra, right? So then Vikram Batra was given a task to capture Tiger Hill, and then he and his team went and they captured Tiger Hill, right? And then having done that, he was asked to, no, he was interviewed by Barkha. He said, hey, Vikram Batra, how you feeling? And he said, yeah, Dil Mange More, you know. There used to be Pepsi ad that time, and that Pepsi ad used to say Dil Mange More, and that's where he picked up and he said Dil Mange More. And as luck would have it, Captain Vikram Batra was given another task to capture another hill feature. You know, we saw these hill features here, right? Crazy hill features. Where are they gone? Yeah, you know, look at that. This is the Tiger Hill, right? 0.4875. I don't remember which number, but one of the other peaks he was asked to capture. So he again went with his team. They, against all the fire coming from all sides, and they, used artillery fire. They took grenades. They went on top of that hill feature, and they, for the leftover people, they physically went and put bunkers in, put grenades in the bunkers, and destroyed everybody. And they were able to say that yes, we captured this peak. So while the peak was captured and Vikram Batra was looking down the hill, he found one of his buddies on the slope who was injured and who was, trying to crawl up the mountain. So he looked around and found that that feature had been completely captured. So he went down to help the buddy. So he went down the slope and he got hold of the buddy and picked him up. And he didn't realize that from the neighboring hillock, there was a sniper, Pakistani sniper, and the Pakistani sniper shot him. He got hit badly and he had to sacrifice his life. So that was a very sad loss. But the point I want to make is that in the army, we are very, very sensitive and very, very concerned about all our buddies. We are there for each other. We kill for each other, we die for each other. We look after each other's welfare, and that's a very strong bond. So it comes out of our training. So when we are doing the training, we follow what is called as a buddy system. And the buddy system is every operation, whether it is patrolling, whether it is ambush, whether it is fire and move, so there are all these battle drills. All the battle drills we do as buddies. So I will have a buddy, who I can depend on, and then two of us can, plan the entire battle drill and succeed. And they can even be buddies where, you have a doggy as a buddy. In fact, I was in Gulmarg, I was doing Mountain Warfare course, and we had one module with the dogs. So you'll not believe that in the morning for the PT, all of us used to stand there, and the word of command was Saudhan. So we used to come to Saudhan. And the dogs next to us were also standing, and they used to come to Saudhan. And then when you say Vishram, the dog used to go down like this. So the word of command was same for us and the dog. And we had a wonderful time in that module to kind of do things along with, our buddies. So we have this buddy system, and which is amazing. So what happens in the buddy system? Okay, what happens when you have a buddy? Very strong bonding. You can share anything and everything. Now let us relate to the civilian world as well, right? While I've told you how well it works in the army, it can work everywhere. So if you have a buddy, then you can share. You can grumble, complain, crib. Teaching and learning. You can learn from each other, teach each other, play together, push each other. You can mirror each other. You know what's wrong with you, because only a buddy will tell you what's wrong with you. Otherwise, everybody else is very goody-goody. And a buddy can be a great motivator. Again, I'm saying these are only few things, right? When you actually have a buddy, you'll realize how much benefit you get. Okay. I would like to ask you, yes, does it make sense? But since I cannot see you guys, maybe you can use a thumbs up. So, what you guys need?
Look good. Yes,
What you guys need? Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So what you guys need to do is find your buddy. Okay, you guys need to go and find your buddy. Now, when I say buddy, it can be a buddy who is doing a project with you. So it becomes a project buddy. Okay. If this is somebody that you go and play badminton with, then that becomes your badminton buddy. Right? It can be somebody who is fascinated about a subject that you are fascinated, maybe astrology, you know, maybe it's somebody who has the same hobby that you have, right? So you could have multiple buddies, right? You may not be lucky to have one buddy who has everything, yeah, but you can have buddies who can enhance your well-being, overall well-being in every activity that you do, you know. So right now, if you're doing internship and if you're doing it on in a particular subject or particular programming language, then you find a buddy and say, hey, why don't we match up together? Not that you have to work every minute together, but you can hook up once in a day and say, how was the day? What did you learn? This is what I learned. Why don't we meet up for a cup of chai? So this buddy bonding is amazing. So this will be one more commandment to find your buddy. Okay, make sense?
Yes, sir.
All right. So from a buddy, let's go to a team. Okay, please stop me anytime you have a, you don't follow or, you want to ask questions, right? Anybody has any questions so far? Yes, no, everybody's awake?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We are here.
Yes,
We
sir.
will have at the end of the session, sir.
Okay, good. No, but feel free, anytime you can.
Yes, sir.
interrupt.
Sure.
Okay, so now from buddy, let's go to teams. We work in teams in the army, right? Now, this is a team that is called a rope. This is in the high altitude areas of snow and glaciers, So we work in all these hardships. Not only there is ice and snow, but there is rarity of atmosphere, so the oxygen is less, so there is breathing problem, and there is a problem of getting lost in the snow. So therefore, we have a rope. The rope is tied across to all the team members, right? Right, the distance may not be so short. You can see a lot of rope in the person's hand. You can see a lot of rope, right? So this rope can extend to 15 meters, 50 meters, right? Because you are making a journey from one point to another for a purpose, right? So the reason is that when you walk like this in a team, okay, you are bearing all the risk, and one of the biggest risk is what is called as a crevasse. What do you find these guys holding in their hands? It is called an ice axe. It's like an axe which works on the ice. So what happens is that in the hard rock, in the glacier, in the ice, there is what is called as crevasse. This is a crevasse. This is a crevasse. Now, when you are walking, and because these areas are not habited, there is a crevasse, but the top of the crevasse can get covered with snow or a layer of ice. So while you're walking, you don't even know if there's a crevasse. So what happens is if somebody falls in that, see, the first guy walks over, maybe nothing happens. The second guy walks over, nothing happens. But let's say the third guy comes and that ice has become very weak and he goes boom. He goes inside. Okay. Then what happens? Then he has a rope tied this way and that way. So the moment the guy falls or he's falling, he'll say, crevasse, crevasse, he'll shout. So while he shouts, what the other people do, everybody gets down on their knees and they hammer the ice axe into the solid ice so that it gives them an anchor to hold on to. Otherwise, what will happen is one guy, because they are all tied in the rope, they'll all get pulled down, and everybody will go down into the crevasse. And these crevasses are very dangerous. They can be miles deep. There are crevasses where something falls, you can't even see, you can't even hear. You can get some echo for some time and then gone down. So they are very dangerous. So then one person falls and then you put this crevasse, put the ice axe. Then you can pull him out, and pull the guy. And then everybody knows that there is a crevasse there. And then you take another route here. So that's a very, very dangerous thing that happened in the mountains. And if you see on the right-hand side, there is a special shoe that we wear, So this shoe has, they have these anchors and they have these spikes in the front so that you can, if you want to go up a slope of ice, then you can dig your, toes and climb up. And then you have the ice axe on the other hand. So you can navigate snow and ice in a better way. So when we do training, we are going in a rope. We're going in a rope, and let's say this instructor is here who's dressed in a different way. and he finds that there is a crevasse. You're walking along the crevasse. Then the instructor will come and he will push you inside the crevasse. He'll actually push you when you are not aware. And then this is to see how alert the whole team is and how they follow the practice and how they do that. But imagine the plight of the person who's inside. Anyway, everybody gets a turn, so everybody goes in the crevasse, and you have cold eyes on either side, and you are hanging in the middle, and you're hoping and praying that the rope doesn't break, and you're hoping and praying that people are able to anchor and pull you out. Yeah. So this is a situation where you are put into total discomfort, because who would like to get into a situation like this, right? So the way of training in the army is to put you in extreme discomfort, so that over a period of time, or having done that, you develop a level of comfort. Okay. So we say that you want to become good in something, you have to confront discomfort. You have to become comfortable with discomfort. So this is one example where in the glacier training you are pushed into a crevasse, and there cannot be anything worse. The only thing is that you're going to fall, and this even during a regular wartime, if you're traversing these areas and you fall down, and that's it. You already know how it feels, right? So you have confronted that situation, right? So getting comfort and discomfort is another commandment. So if there is any area in your life which you feel you are uncomfortable with, then you need to go and embrace that discomfort. You need to confront it. You need to get comfortable with it, right? I don't know what is it. Maybe you're shy, or you're scared of talking to a girl. It used to happen during our time. I don't think it happened now, but I'm just giving it as an example. And then you keep thinking all the time that the girls don't like me, and I don't know how to talk to girls. So you'll never talk to all your life. Till you get married to somebody, and then you say yeah. But the thing is that if you identify that as your discomfort, then you have to confront it. Then you have to say maximum क्या होएगा, थप्पड़ लगेगा, चप्पल लगेगी, है ना? So you be ready with that. And you say, okay, now I'm going to go and make this. I'm put up the brave front, right? Until you do that, believe me, you will never become confident. So identify all the areas in your life where you are uncomfortable. What is it that gives you discomfort? And then go ahead and embrace it. Make sense? I would have loved to hear yes, no, but
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
all right,
Yes,
good,
sir.
very nice, thank you. Okay, so then again, extension of the discomfort. You must have heard of commando training. So we do this training. It used to happen in Belgaum. I think it still happens in Belgaum, where every infantry guy has to go through commando training. And there's a movie called Prahar by Nana Patekar. So if you get it on Netflix or somewhere, please do see it. It gives a very nice, detailed review, or rather a preview of how commando training happens. So this is again another example of discomfort. So you can see the faces. They're looking comfortable. No, they're looking stoic. It doesn't matter comfort or discomfort. Doesn't matter. They're beyond all that. So they have gone through very, very tough situations, and they have reached a level of stoicism. This is going to hold them good in the battles, in the war, right? So this has happened purely because of the same thing, that nobody's when you join the army, or when you start serving in the infantry, you're not that brave, you're not that courageous, and then when you go and do the commando course, then they make you like that. So your fitness is so high that if somebody throws you from the second floor, you will land, you will jump down, and then you'll roll, and you will start walking. Because that is the level of your overall fitness that the training does to you, right? So because they already know what are the fears that need to be captured, therefore they put that in the training, and they make sure that all these fears are taken care of. Like there is a commando jump, which means you're supposed to jump from 90 feet into water. Just hold your hand like this, and then release them, and then you have a free fall. And that free fall, of course, happens. You are wearing battle rig, and you're going up, and you're doing some monkey crawling, so there is a process. So they help you get rid of fear of heights, fear of water, fear of confrontation. You have unarmed combat. The two people are in the hot sand. Whole day we are doing unarmed combat. So you get over all the fears. So this is what happens. And again, I must tell you that army has different kinds of candidates that join. So somebody's tall, somebody's short, somebody's thin, somebody's well built. So it doesn't mean that somebody who's well built does better than the others. It doesn't mean. And the reason for that is it is not physical. The whole training that we go through may appear physical, but at the end of the day, the people who complete the training or the people who win are the ones who have a great control on their minds. Okay, it's a game of the mind. If you're doing 40 kilometers, it is not the tall guy who has long strides who's going to win. No, it could be a very short guy who will win. Why? Because he is mentally tuned up. He says, "मैं तो करूँगा," you know. So we must all realize that our human body is comprising of trillions of cells. Earlier people said thousands of cells, but there are trillions of cells. And there is, I think, on an average, there are 30 trillion cells. I think the number varies from 10 to 100, but yeah, about 30, 35 trillion cells in each human body. And each cell is like a soldier. Okay, each cell is like a soldier. Now, what is the quality of a soldier that we all know? The quality of a soldier is that the soldier is very obedient. अगर order किया तो हो जाएगा. Tell him to do something, it will happen. Right? That is the quality of a soldier. A soldier is very disciplined and very obedient. Now, each one of us has 30 trillion soldiers within us. What we do and how we do will depend on what order we give the cell. If we tell the cell, "यार, आज मैं मजा नहीं आ रहा है, आज थोड़ा बदन दर्द हो रहा है, पता नहीं कैसे करूंगा," so what will happen? The cell is going to make you feel that way. Because वो तो obedient है, उसको गलत सही तो पता नहीं है, So the cell will say that this is the order for the day. Feel uncomfortable, feel miserable, At the same time, if a person tells the cells that, "Here I come, let me show the world what I can do, I'm full of energy," what will happen? All the cells will ensure that you behave that way. You're energetic and you're going to really make it good, for that day. So it is all in our mind. ये जो I don't know if you heard law of attraction. फिर एक शाहरुख खान की एक डायलॉग भी था एक फिल्म में. That whole kainat will come and make it happen. It actually happened. And we've seen that in Commando. That everybody, whether you see the person, you think, "अरे ये बंदा कैसे करेगा?" वो कर देता है. He does it because there is mental strength. Yeah. So each one of us has that mental strength, and then all of us are able to do it in a team. Okay, and then of course we have the buddy system, so we care for each other, right? So that's our leveling with discomfort and working in teams. Now let's look at another aspect, right? So you see the smart guys. So while on one hand they are getting, stretching themselves on the physical front, they also turn out to be very smart officers, very smart cadets, right? Now, how does this happen? This happens only because of continuous effort. Continuous effort, no other reason, right? You keep practicing, you keep practicing, you keep practicing, and you become perfect. Okay. So this applies to everything in life. Anything you want to perfect, just practice. Okay. And you practice and you have perfect synchronization, and you have perfect release of energy, and you do everything absolutely as per the book. Now there is a lot of detailing here, so you see the belt that people are wearing. There is a specific length, and how much belt should be visible either side, what should be the length of this anklet. And if you actually closely look at the shoe, I don't know if you're looking at the mobile, you may not be able to see, but there are 16 nails. There are 16 nails and then one horseshoe. Each of these guys have 16 nails, and we used to have these 16 nails and a horseshoe. And every time when we were around, the Ustad used to tell us to lift our shoe and check out. And even if one nail is missing, you're on for punishment, So we have to look at each and everything. A small, simple nail in the shoe is something that we have to take care of, So each and every aspect has to be looked at in detail. And therefore, the only way to do this is, have an eye for detail and continuous practice, So the way you dress up, you need to dress up every day the same way, So every army establishment, if you see, there is a big full-length mirror. Every army establishment, whether it is a mess, whether it is a office, whether it is unit, there's a big mirror, and below that it says, "Am I properly dressed?" So you are asking yourself, "Am I properly dressed?" So you stand in front of the mirror and look at yourself. You can see, t-shirt theek hai, mera collar theek hai, my topi is okay, I'm fine. Then you go and do whatever you have to do or meet people or whatever, right? So this is one very important aspect. So it's a good idea to go and stand in front of the mirror and not only look at yourself and say, "Am I properly dressed?" but you also say that, "Hey, hello, young, smart, handsome guy, I'm full of energy." You say that to yourself and you'll find that it happens, right? You will feel more energetic. You feel more dynamic. Anyway, so I don't want to take you too much into the NLP part, but yeah, this is what it is. And it comes out of effort, right? So everything you put effort in, you will succeed. Okay, so what happens is that, all right, so let me just relate this to the civilian world. When we say you want to put effort, you want to become best. So now the question is, in what, right? So now all of you are going to join a company, all of you are going to get some role. So it's important to identify what is the role. And if in that role you want to become great, you want to become perfect, then you have to practice. So therefore you should know what is it, right? So therefore, when you look at the role, you need to go through a template called SWOT. I'm sure all of you have heard of this. Yeah. Anybody not heard of it? Then you can unmute and tell me, "No, I have not heard." Okay, it stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And I think this is a very fundamental exercise that each one of you has to do with yourself. As a generic exercise, that, okay, what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What are the opportunities I have in front of me, I want to look at, and what are the possible threats, right? So I will not go into this, but I'm just saying that all of you need to do this exercise for yourself. And sometimes you can do this exercise in relation to a role. Okay. So if you are saying that you are joining a company as a QA assistant, okay, as a QA engineer, then with respect to that role, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are the opportunities and what are the threats? So these are the things that you need to analyze and identify. Okay. So I'll not do more on this. I'm assuming that all of you would do this what must have done already in in your management or some other studies. Okay, then we come to alignment. So now I'm going to ask you to do something. I know I cannot see you people, but what I would suggest is all of you, wherever you're sitting, turn away from the screen and look at any object which is about 15, 20 feet away, 10 feet away. Yeah, can you do that? I'm assuming you have done that and you have seen an object somewhere there, right? Now you look at that object with both your eyes open. Listen to my instruction, okay? You're facing that object, you sit there still, then keep both your eyes open and look at that object. Now don't close your eyes, you lift one finger and try to point at that object without moving your head. Now you bring down that finger and you raise the other hand and point the other finger at that object. Okay. Now you raise one finger, close one eye and see the alignment of the finger, and close the other eye and see the alignment of the finger. And you do the same thing with the other hand. Now something is happening. Have you guys got it?
Yes.
You got the instructions?
Yeah.
You
Yes.
look at
Yes.
something, then you, without moving your finger, you just close one eye. Then you open the other eye, right? And then you see the finger moving left to right. You see that happening?
Yes. Sir.
Okay, so at one particular point, that finger is going to be aligned with the object. So it will either be with the right eye or the left eye.
Yes, sir.
So anybody with the left eye?